simultaneously for real, I don't feel like I've changed that much as a person. You know, I think I've matured, sure, experience, of course, but at my core, I'm still the same guy. So like it's battling both sentiments when I'm watching this thing. And also like it's such a the movie's such a beautiful story, like with a beginning and an end. But we stopped shooting last October, and we've been on tour ever since. So like, there's no end.
Interesting. We should, for listeners who don't know the band that well, we should go back in time to when you formed, because like, I mean, it's almost like something out of a movie, right? I mean, here are these young guys from the burbs. You don't really have any musical superstars in your families. You don't really grow up in an environment filled with music success chart-wise. And yet you have this dream to be a successful rock band. And when you look back at it, it feels impossible if you don't already know that.
Yes, especially that it's not like we were in California where like there was a bunch of bands popping up and being successful at that. Like the only successful French Canadian artists internationally, because there was a lot of great artists that had beautiful, and that's it, right, back then. So it was an interesting thing to think. Had to be a little bit unhinged to think that it was actually going to happen to us, you know. So like we definitely doubled down on everything as far as work ethics and taking on opportunities after opportunity to finally get to where we were. But yeah, I mean, right.
The amount of hard work that went into it too. I think a lot of times people think, oh, you know, a band, they play a couple of gigs, they get discovered, the record company does the rest, or at least that's the way it used to be. And next thing you know, they're famous and they're on Lear jets. But in your case, especially with Chuck, the drummer of the band and the founder, one of the founders, you realize that a lot of it was just egoless hard work.
Yes, definitely. We're lucky to have a Chuck, and I'm glad that comes across in the documentary.
It certainly does. It certainly does.
Like, I mean, Relentless definitely works harder than anybody else. And because we have him, I can allow myself to not be that person, which is something I definitely appreciate a lot. And I'm glad you're mentioning that, because I'm glad it's coming across. The hard work, I think, is if there was a message to take away from this whole movie is yes, you see someone on TV, you're like, okay, they made it, and that's it. And that's not what actually, it's not that easy. It's not how it happens. Like, we definitely rejected hard times, haters, and then with the success came more haters. And it's at this point, I feel like people kind of give up. It's like, okay, they're still around, they're good, we like them now. But back then, there's definitely a lot of struggles at a time in your life when you kind of tried to become a person, become human, become a man, and all of that happening at the same time was not the easiest thing.
That really does come across, the sort of double-edged sword of fame that existed for a band like Simple Plan. Because honestly, if you'd been 20 years older, you would have played a different kind of music. None of the punk stuff would have come in, but there was the same conversation about whether you're pure enough, whether you've sold out. I mean, it never ends. It's always the same story, right?
It's true. And, like, I'm assuming, like, becoming sort of being in the public eye at that age is difficult enough. Like I think anybody that was a pop star back then was struggling with some facet of fame in one way or another. And then we had to add on top of that the punk factor and the critics and you're too pop for punk, you're too punk for pop. Like, we don't want you on the pop radio because there's too much guitars. We can't have you on a Warped Tour and throw bottles at you because you sort of hung out with Avril a couple of times and now you can't be here. Like, it's, oh my God, it was difficult. And it is true that I tried to focus on the people that were having a good time in the front row, but in the back of our mind was always like, oh man, like, can we write a song that pleases everyone? No. Can we adapt the set list? Maybe. But at our core, we have to do the music that we want to do, and we have to play the songs that we want to play. And that's sort of what rallied us together and made us at peace with all these decisions we're making. It's like, we're playing it's the same album. It's not like we're different on one side and we're different on the other. We're playing a Warped Tour with the same songs that we're playing on tour with Avril. Like, it's the same Simple Plan. Like, why do people have a problem with this on both sides? It made no sense to us.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I should point out to listeners as well, at your role in the band, you didn't know the two people. I mean, you knew them a bit. You were your brother, I think, had played in a band with one of the members, and came along. You were younger than the rest of them at the time. And at one point in the documentary, you say, "I used to be really shy, and now I'm just really shy." I think it was, or something along those lines. And it's interesting because I realized that in the band, it would have been a struggle for you to be so exposed so young.
Absolutely. It's funny because I had a dream to play music. I had a dream to be in a band. I never really imagined myself being on stage in front of thousands of people. That was not part of it. That's not something I envisioned. And then when it started happening, it was great. I enjoyed it very much, but guess I'm a bit more on the introvert side. So I did also need my solitude and my alone time to recharge those batteries. It definitely was maybe a little bit more exhausting for me than some of the band members that really use it to fuel their enthusiasm. But yeah, I mean, we were around each other a lot because we went to the same high school, and I used to go to reset shows, and Jeff was my brother's best friend, and he was always at a house. Right. They were always jamming together. So I knew who they were, but back then, I still am younger than them, but back then that 2-3 age difference, 2-3 year age difference was a bigger deal than it is now.
Tell me a bit about the beginnings, because it's funny, in the documentary itself, it spends a lot of time in the early days, and there's a ton of very cool footage, which must be a bit strange to see yourself at 17, 18, 19 all over again, and the clothes you're wearing and the way you look and all that stuff. But then there's sort of a turning point where the first album comes out. It would have been so easy for your band to still be sort of playing together in someone's garage in 2025 rather than be the simple plan that came to be.
Yeah, I mean, the story at many points could have gone very differently. And who knows if we would have still be here today. If Andy Carp hadn't signed us back then, I'd like to imagine we would have wanted to work double hard and keep going. And hopefully at some point someone else would have signed us, but maybe not. We'll never know. We'll never know what our career would have been if a different single had come out instead of the one we picked. We'll actually never know. So, I mean, we are here today because of all those little tiny decisions that made a difference along the way.
Sébastien Lefebvre is with us this half hour. He's a founding member of the Montreal band Simple Plan. There's a new documentary out celebrating their 25 years, as well as their status as one of the most successful Canadian bands of this century. It's called Simple Plan, The Kids in the Crowd, on Amazon Prime. Coming up, what was it like to achieve real worldwide fame? How the band managed to ride out some tough times, and the one thing about the doc that is most revealing to Seb about the band. That's coming up.
Struggling with debt? Kevin Thatcher and Associates can help you regain control. As licensed insolvency trustees, they offer personalized solutions to protect your home, car, and family. With offices across Toronto and the GTA, Hamilton, Kitchener, and Cambridge, they're ready to assist you with the help you need. For a free consultation, call 1-888-329-5198 or visit billfixer.com online. Kevin Thatcher and Associates, helping you achieve a fresh financial start.
Times have been tough. If you've lost your job or have questions about your employment rights, get the answers you need on the Employment Law Show on 640 Toronto. Weeknights, Monday to Thursday at 6:30. Call in and speak directly to a lawyer from employmentlawyer.ca, the most positively reviewed employment law firm in Canada. Whether it's severance, changes to your job, or harassment, we have answers. The Employment Law Show. Weeknights, Monday to Thursday at 6:30 on 640 Toronto.
Need water you can rely on? Conrad Well Drilling is the family-owned experts you can trust. They drill quality water wells with a water guarantee. From homes and cottages to commercial properties, Conrad Well Drilling handles it all. Fully licensed and certified. Unlock your water solution at ConradWellDrilling.com. Visit now for a free quote. Servicing the Georgian Bay, Muskoka, and Parry Sound districts. ConradWellDrilling.com. For water that lasts.
Hey everybody, I'm Brad Smith, and I'm filling in on Monday for John Oakley while he's on vacation, where we will be waiting on bended knee to see if there's a backstory behind the viral clip of the astronomer CEO getting caught cheating on his wife. Our callers were in a frenzy on Friday, but will there be a new story? And of course, we'll update you on the latest in the plane crash in Lake Scugog that's claimed the life of a teenager. You can catch the John Oakley Show brought to you by Pizzaville, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. on 640 Toronto or on the iHeartRadio app.
Representation in media is important.
There's a lot of people with disabilities that don't feel seen.
I'm a music producer. Having a disability, it's not really shown in the industry.
I make media representing women in wheelchairs.
AMI is a broadcaster that strives to change the way people think about disability.
I'm a very loud and proud deaf woman, and I want to be able to make a difference.
Watch inclusive and accessible content on AMI TV or stream now at amiplus.ca.
Smart Canadian travelers know how to save. You score a flight deal, you pack your own snacks like a rebel, and park with Park and Fly. Park up to 28 days, one flat rate. Save more the longer you stay. Unlike your water bottle, this deal won't get seized by airport security. Travel smart from the start with Park and Fly, serving Canadian travelers for over 50 years. Book now, up to 28 days, one flat rate at parkandfly.ca. Conditions apply.
From the backyard hobbyist to the all-out welding and machine shop, Metal Supermarkets has what you need, when you want it, how you want it. All cut to your specifications. No order is too big or too small. Pick up in-store or have it delivered right to your home, shop, or job site. Metal Supermarkets has you covered no matter what the project. With over 8,000 products, Metal Supermarkets is your convenience store for metal. 8 convenient GTA locations to help you get the job done. Call us at 289-562-0264 or find us on the web at metalsupermarkets.com.
Shoppers Foundation for Women's Health is challenging us all to ask, how many women have we lost because of a late diagnosis? How many women have been overlooked because so little research funding goes to women's health? How many women have felt unseen because they can't access proper care? Maybe even you. Health inequities are harming women. It's why we're working to improve access to equitable and inclusive care. It's time to make women's health visible. Get to know the facts at shoppersfoundation.ca.
Do you ever feel like breaking down? Do you ever feel out of place? Like somehow you just don't belong and no one understands you?
Now, back to Weekends with Ben O'Hara-Byrne.
Well, thanks for being here. Sébastien Lefebvre is with us this half hour. He is guitarist and one of the founding members of the very successful Canadian pop-punk band Simple Plan, and they are the subject of a new documentary on Prime called Simple Plan, The Kids in the Crowd. It looks back at the band's beginnings, their explosion into popularity as one of the biggest selling acts in the world. Sébastien, tell me a bit about the band's eruption when you became world famous. The documentary goes over the height of your success pretty quickly, almost a blur, like it was such a whirlwind that there wasn't much more to say about it other than, oh, it's Tuesday, this must be Berlin or Tokyo.
That's kind of how I remember it. The way you just described, it's just like, okay, where are we? Okay, this is awesome. Where are we doing? This is awesome. And the first 5 years, even looking back on the pre-MTV days, I'm having a hard time remembering because it all happened so intensely, not so quickly, just so intensely that it kind of all mushes together. And I guess that by the time we got to somewhere where people would, let's say, recognize us in the street, or we were selling more records a week, and then we went platinum and double platinum and all of that in America and Canada and in Australia and all these beautiful places around the world. It felt like we had grinded so much and we'd worked so much that was just like, okay, perfect. Now we deserve this. Perfect. We're here. All right, awesome. What's the next goal? And then we started traveling even more. Like the next goal eventually was like, let's try to make another album that is as good and as successful. And then when we did that, I was like, okay, Welcome to My Life is a hit. Perfect. Let's go play here. Let's go play. And there was always just steps and steps to a never ending, automatic escalator, because there's always somewhere else you could be going. We never got to the point where we're just like, okay, that's it. We got it. We just said, okay, now we're here. That's great. But we worked so hard to make those steps happen that it almost humbly felt like, okay, now we deserve this. When you build a house, you feel like you can live in it. It's not like, oh, I don't know what I'll do once I have this house. No, you live in it. And you're like, okay, now I want a chalet. And then you build that. And then you go live there. And it's like, okay, now what? So that went to our heads because of the hard work that was put into it.
Yeah, but always, of course, the pressure of always trying to perform and trying to maintain that level of success is impossible. Actually, very few bands have ever accomplished it. In fact, I don't think any have. There's an interesting part in there. Of course, you're from Montreal. You're from the suburbs of Montreal, all of you. There's an interesting line in there at one point that I'm sure is not in there by accident, where someone, I think it's Pierre, who was getting dinner, and someone says to him, I didn't think you were a Quebec band because you're singing in English and your name's English, but you are. And I've always been interested about how you think about yourselves as a band, because I grew up in Montreal in the 70s and the 80s, and there were lots of, very well-known Quebec bands, whether it be Beau Dommage or any number of them, Harmonium, but they weren't major successes. And your band, you're right. I mean, if I was living in California and heard you, I wouldn't know you were from Montreal. But every time I heard people say Simple Plan, Montreal, Quebec, it was a moment of pride for a Montrealer, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, I mean, and I know growing up and listening to Quebec music, how many artists that I loved, and they're huge, absolutely enormous here and important to the culture. And that's great. But most of the music we were inspired by when we started Simple Plan were bands that sung in English, and definitely Pierre's more comfortable doing that. And that's just the sound we were going for, because I mean, we had those ambitions to go international and it's hard to do that when you're singing in French, harder to do that. Like, we wanted to go beyond Quebec and France. And, it worked out for us. And I'm surprised by that part in the documentary, actually, because that was summer 2024, and you'd expect someone that comes to Simple Plan show to know that we're from here. And I guess that guy hadn't clicked yet, maybe he knew, but not really, or maybe he thought the rest of the band was from here, but not Pierre, but we've always been very proud. We always say when we jump on stage, especially in the early days, like, hey, what's up? We're Simple Plan from Montreal, Canada, and come and dance with us, and then we started the show or whatever. Yeah, and and I get it. Like, whenever you meet Quebec people outside of the country, I was like, I'm very proud of you guys, and that's a beautiful feeling, and that's something we feel every time we step on stage in our home province, for sure. Yeah, you were very much a modern day Montreal band, though, or you could have been a suburban band just about anywhere. You're from different backgrounds, you spoke different languages, your parents were from different places. I mean, from different levels of different. Some were professional, some weren't. You were kind of the quintessential suburban Canadian band for your time, for the 90s, and it's kind of, I think that's why you connect with so many people, because they can see themselves in you. Yeah, I mean, we're very normal, very ordinary, I don't think any of us is very extravagant in any way. I think we were raised by amazing parents, and that gave us great values, and we definitely know how lucky we are to be doing what we do, especially 25 years later at this point. And the kids in the crowd, right? You're still the kids in the crowd, as the title says. Exactly. Like, I don't know if I'd go pack myself in a mosh pit nowadays, but that's where we came from, and definitely one of the highlights of the documentary was seeing all those beautiful fans in the front row, because like, I can kind of see them from the stage, and you get a feeling that people are having a good time, but to have all those close-ups and to really feel the emotion of people that come to Simple Plan shows, that was very special for me. Yeah, and of course, I mean, the fans have a pretty important part in this documentary, because I was interviewing someone else of that same era not that long ago, and they said these days, because of how fragmented everything is and the way that Spotify works and so on, find your tribe, make them happy. And obviously your band has a very loyal following all these years later, and you found them, you found each other. I think we did. I think the something that surprised me early on is the most personal songs we wrote, like Perfect and like Welcome to My Life, which are about things that are extremely specific to what we were going through at the time, are some of the songs that resonated with the fans the most. And it's like, because they kind of, you think you're going through something and you're the only one that's ever felt this way, and that's never the case. Like, there's so many people, and yes, so like, they found us, we found them, and now we're on this beautiful journey together. Last question for you, Seb. Your favorite part of the documentary, the thing that jumped out at you the most, the thing that was the most like, aha, that's what the band and life has been all about. I think it's what I just mentioned. It's all those close-ups of the fans right there in the front row, people having fun at the show, some of the overhead shots of the festivals that we do, I'll be honest, like, I know how big or important a show can be, like, before getting on stage, but when I'm on stage, I'm very focused. Like, I'm playing my guitar. Right. I want to make sure I get my posture right, to make sure my vocals are on point. And then 3/4 through the show, if I've had a great show so far, then that's when I kind of let loose and I start looking at people a little bit more, Right. But to see that, like, slow motion shots, people up front, some of the signs that we saw in the documentary and all that, I think that's my favorite part. Well, Seb, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. Sébastien Lefebvre is a founding member and guitarist with the Montreal pop-punk band Simple Plan. There's a new documentary about them called Simple Plan, The Kids in the Crowd, on Amazon Prime. This is Ben O'Hara-Byrne. You're listening to Weekends with Ben O'Hara-Byrne.
We've been part of the Canadian trades community for over 85 years. The ones who build this country and keep it running. Now we're saying thank you. Back. That's why we're donating 85% of our media space to the people who built this country. The skilled trades. Like Concord Plumbing, a local plumbing contractor who takes pride in doing the job right every time. Learn more at ronacanadiantrades.ca. Build it right. Build it Rona.
This Sunday morning on Your Life, Your Money. What's the biggest problem with our financial plan? Emotions. Markets go up and down, but the way we react impacts our portfolio the most. Stick with a plan that works for you, and don't let negative behaviors take control. Learn more with Kelvin the Money Guy and Chris Creston this Sunday morning at 11